Hello, Gemini. This is your weekly reading for May 15th to the 21st, 2021. I hope it's going to be a good one. I like to have good readings. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, sometimes they're somewhere in between. That tends to be the typical. But jeez, I'm already throwing cards all over the place. That is not a bad sign. When they fly out of their own accord, I know they're trying to assert themselves into making sure certain things get known. You can call that spirit, you can call it energy. There's one, two. You can call it whatever you want, but sometimes it does occur. And I'm glad to see that Four of Cups because I haven't seen it in a while. It's not the best card in the deck, but it's certainly a good card. It's not a bad card. And we'll take what we can get in these crazy times, right? They don't all have to be perfect, but it's nice when they're not horrific. Even the bad cards aren't so bad unless there are an awful lot more bad cards to go with. So let's dive in. I'm just going to start with 6 cards and we'll look at them and go from there. Oh, well, look at this. Okay, well, you get 7. Oh, and we got these ones upside down. So, cool. Let's do it. All right. So, first of all, we've got the Four of Cups. Now, the Four of Cups is, well, you know, it's kind of debatable. This guy can be bored. He can be, you know, not noticing what's going on around him. He can be lots of things. Or she. Probably you. Definitely you, I'm going to say. All right, so here you are, not noticing this cup. You're kind of focused on whatever else. Sometimes this can be an opportunity that's kind of floating around you. And sometimes it's not a clear opportunity. It's not like somebody's giving you a job offer necessarily, but maybe it's meeting somebody who could be something to you in the future, could be a connection, could be somebody who presents something else to you later on. Whatever it is, try not to be bored. Try to engage. Try to be interested. Try to pay good attention and not miss any opportunities or people or potential fun things or connections. You know, that's always kind of a truism. That's not like any amazing, brilliant advice. That's just what we should really do. But we do get bored and we do get focused on nonsense and all the rest of it. So try not to do that. Especially right now, I find that because people's social connections are kind of cut off in certain ways right now and things like that, people are getting even more into the computer and, you know, doing all this stuff that's very solitary. And it can be okay, like depending on what you do with it, but I'm going to say if there are any connections or potential outcomes, you know, floating around that you could, you know, latch onto, do that. Don't lose those possibilities because there are always possibilities in every situation. There are always things trying to come to you. So I'm not saying you have to let everything come to you, but pay attention. See what you want to bring in and bring in the good stuff because maybe this is a good thing. Here we have this card seems to be, if I had to choose a card that comes up more often for more people, it would be the Ten of Wands. This card can mean a lot of things. It can mean that you are doing too much. You are overburdened by too many things. It can mean that you have these tasks, but you're not doing them very efficiently. You could do it some other way to make it be completed in a better way. Sometimes it, like I always say, you can't see the forest for the trees kind of thing. Like you've got all this stuff in front of you. And so you're not really seeing the big picture because you're so inundated with whatever the hell is going on here. So that's a possibility. It's not a bad card because you're still continuing to do. You are plowing through in spite of the obstacles, the difficulty, the lack of ability to see and what have you. But it's not good for you to be feeling this burden. You know, you don't want to feel like your life is a burden. You know what? I'm going to throw something new into the mix on this card, something I don't usually mention, but it is something that we should always be thinking about, and that is enjoy the process. Whatever you are doing, if you're doing it anyway, okay, even if it's not the greatest job you've ever done, or say you don't love to cook, but you have to cook because you've got 5 children and you can't afford to take them out to a restaurant every night of your life. If you have to do it anyway, find a way to enjoy the process, because this is your life, and I want you to enjoy almost all the minutes of it. Yes, there will be hard times. Yes, there will be times when there's grief and problems and all the rest of it. But if it's just drudgery, try to find a way to come out of the drudgery. Okay, say it's the cooking dinner thing. It could be anything. It could be work. Now, if you work with a bunch of other people and you can't have, you know, noise blaring, then this might not be a thing, but maybe you can have headphones on or whatever. Maybe listen to some comedy thing, or listen to something good like some music or something while you're doing the not fun task. If you are cooking the dinner and you hate it, you know what I used to do? My little daughter, who is now 19, when she was a baby, from the time that little girl could sit up in a high chair, I always used a ton of garlic, and I love to cook. So I would give her, you know, 20 bulbs of garlic with a big chef's knife. People used to go, how can you let that tiny tot use this chef's knife? Because I taught her how to use it, and I'm right there. But she would bash the garlic cloves, and she would get them all out, and she would sit there and peel them, and we'd be talking and singing and whatever the hell we were doing. And she would sit there, and that was kind of her job. She would peel garlic, and lots of it, and she's still amazing at peeling garlic. I have to tell you, like, there is nobody who can peel garlic like my daughter. So anyway, make it fun for everybody involved. If you have a bunch of kids and you don't feel like doing whatever in the kitchen, get them to help. Kids love stuff in the kitchen. They'll help you. They'll do everything. They'll mix. They'll cut. They'll do whatever the heck you want. Get them involved. If you don't feel comfortable with them having knives, if they're not old enough in your opinion, or in quote unquote reality or whatever, then don't give them knives. Give them a spoon. Let them stir. You know, whatever task that is time consuming that you don't want to do, they'll sort things. If you have, you know, like, if you ever, I don't know if you ever do this, but I love garbanzo beans and dried beans and things like that. But if you buy them, sometimes they'll have a rock in them, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to go through them all and pick out the little rocks and do all of that nonsense. Kids will do it. They are so good at doing some of the most ridiculous tasks, and they're great at it. That's the really great thing about it. They'll focus. They might run around the house all day long and great, they can do that, but they're also great at focusing on some of the most insane things that you could ever imagine if you give them the task. I just want you to enjoy your life. So enjoy your life. Get people to help you. If you have kids around, if you have adults around, say your father, who is an elderly person, is sitting there in his wheelchair and he's got nothing to do. Get him moving. If he's got 2 hands that work at all and you've got something to do, get him to help you do it. People are supposed to be productive. We're not supposed to be sitting around just rotting. So put everybody to work and make it as fun as you can. Put on music, dance around the kitchen, act like a lunatic, have some wine, whatever floats your boat. But on the note of having some wine, which is surely my weakness, we've got the devil. The devil, and I had this card, I believe, in the same position in the last reading. The devil can mean doing things that are not so great for you. And when I say not so great for you, it can mean anything that's not good for you. It can mean, drinking too much wine. It can mean smoking too much pot. It can mean obsessing about anything. It can mean too much spending money that you're not supposed to spend. It can mean, having a bad internal dialogue and telling yourself you're a screw up all the time. which is the worst thing you can probably do as a human on the planet, because if you cannot be your own best cheerleader, you're in trouble. So I'm going to tell you, be your own best cheerleader. Treat yourself right. Then we've got the Death card, which is about huge change. And a lot of people are getting this card right now. Sorry, I knocked something over and it's being noisy. My club soda can. I love club soda. I know I'm one of the few who loves to sit around drinking club soda, but I do. And the death card is all about major change. A lot of people are getting this because the world is changing. We're having some major changes which reflect in the cards. But if it's just a personal thing, say you have something going on here. Say you drink too much and you are going to do something about this. That could be a major change. Say you're going to embark on the new opportunity. That could be a major change. You know, there's so many things that you could be doing that are major. Your life is changing in some way. You're having a divorce. You're having a breakup with somebody. You're having a new job. You know, and it doesn't, well, you know what? The Death card is fairly major. It's not like, you know, you're buying a new product and it's going to come up as the Death card. That's not the case. It's got to be fairly major. Your life is changing. But it can be for the huge positive. I mean, I find that usually the Death card is for the positive. Then we've got Justice reversed. So I'm going to say that you are feeling that something is very unjust that has come to you or that you've experienced. Perhaps you are waiting for an apology from somebody. That is often the case. Somebody owes you an apology or some compensation for something. Maybe somebody owes you some money and they're not paying you back. That is often the case. This is a general reading, so I'm throwing stuff out there to, you know, cover a few bases with some of you because you're not sitting here in front of me. I can't feel anything personal from you. So say that it is a situation where you feel somebody owes you something. I don't know about you, but I have never lent out a book or any musical thing from the olden days when there were records to now when there are, you know, CDs or DVDs or whatever format of whatever. I mean, we really don't lend these things out anymore, but books still exist and we do lend them out. I've never received one back in my entire lifetime. So I'm going to say that if it's something like that, just give it to them or don't. One of the two, because there are certain things people don't return. But let's say it's an apology. You know, I've encountered a lot of family situations lately where people have written to me about needing apologies for various things. And, okay, say you get the apology. I like to look at all the sides of something. If this happens, then what? Okay, say you're waiting for an apology from your sister-in-law because she's been a bitch to you. So, say you get the apology. Will you really feel better? Is that enough? Is that apology going to be enough? Because she's probably just going to turn around and behave the same bad way. Or maybe she won't. I mean, you can try and give her the benefit of the doubt. It depends on how many missteps there have been in the past, right? But figure out what you actually need. Now, the Justice card can often represent, when it's upright, that you are going to get justice for something, but it is often a legal matter. When it is reversed and it's a legal matter, if you have a court case hanging in the balance, it can mean that it will not go your way. But not always, because this is one of those cards, right? It works a lot better for when it's the positive in the legal matter than when it's the negative. When it's the negative, it might not go your way, but it might go your way with some provisos. It might go your way, but it's different. I've had a lot of situations where it's like child custody or something like that, where it's in a divorce decree or something, and there are other things in the mix. It's like the person wants custody, but they also want these financial things to go their way. Well, they might get the custody part their way, but then the other things are split, or they don't get all of that. So, I mean, legal matters are not always cut and dried because it's not always just one matter you're going after. So, it's very hard to determine what the actual answer is here. But that's a possibility. But if it is something as simple as an apology, or you want, a lot of times you can initiate the conversation that will give you something. A lot of people expect it to come to them, and then it never does. But if you initiate the conversation and say, hey, I was not happy about this, and I want to be upfront with you because, we have this relationship, and I want our relationship to be good, and I'm not happy about this. I mean, you'd be surprised what comes out of that. Sometimes it goes really well, and sometimes it goes really well to your way. A lot of people are very insensitive, and they don't have a clue what they're doing, or if they do, they're a little nasty about it, but then when you bring it up to them, they're still approachable. Pretty interesting. People are interesting creatures, which is why tarot cards are so fun and why people are so much fun. Okay, so here we've got the Wounded Warrior card. This fellow who in action can still be quite defensive. I'm going to say this has to do with something. You're going to let some defenses down here. You're going to let some defenses down. And these two cards come up together quite often, but not in the reverse. So you're going to let some defenses down. I'm thinking this is going to be helpful with whatever's going on here. I don't know why I think that. I just do. Something is going on here where you're struggling with all these burdens, but by letting the defenses down, maybe just because it'll make your mood, your way of looking at things, your outlook better and different, and that'll lighten the load somewhat so you can function better to create and do whatever this is. And then we've got the High Priestess reversed. So you need to go within. You need to go within. You're having trouble. Excuse me, it's spring and I'm having my little allergy attacks. You need to go within to kind of deal with everything that is happening to you right now. But you're having issues with doing that. Maybe it's a time factor. You are so overburdened, you don't have time for yourself. Excuse me. Sometimes in modern day tarot readings, people look at the High Priestess as kind of a self-care card. Like it's very, female energy. It's about, taking good care of yourself, whether it be mentally, physically, whatever it is. But I'm thinking because of this situation, you are not having enough time for yourself. And somehow you need to make that. Maybe that's what the letting the defenses down is about. Saying you need a little help over here and then getting a little more time for yourself, which is so necessary. So I'm going to pull 3 cards just to see what you're moving into in the next little while. Wow, this is a mixed bag if ever there was one. So the Lovers. Okay, well, wait, we'll save the best for last. Okay, we're going to leave the old Lovers over here. And then we're going to look at this. Everybody seems to be getting this card, and I wonder if it's because of all the weird changes in the world and so many people having no job, or a job where they're now remote and sometimes less income, less hours, less whatever, or because of the things that they're doing. You'd think we'd all be having a lot more money because of the fact that, restaurants are closed and, a lot of people can't do the things they normally do, go to the gym, do all those things that cost money. But for whatever reason, people seem to be having a lot less money right now. Maybe it's because everybody's doing a lot more home delivery stuff, trying to entertain themselves at home more. I don't know. I don't really know what the answer is, but everybody seems to be getting this, which can mean health concerns. It can mean monetary losses, which I seem to think is the case these days with most people. Hopefully it is not a serious monetary loss for you, but whether it is serious or not so serious, this card makes complete sense. This is about holding on to what is yours. Now, that can mean people, and you're trying to hang on to what you've got. A lot of people are feeling isolated. They want to be with their people, and they're not getting their way about that necessarily, depending on who your people are. The other thing is, if there is a financial issue, you may not want to let that money go right now. Now may be the time to be really prudent and hold on to it and be very, very judicious about spending. I certainly would recommend that if there are any monetary concerns right now. And then we've got the Lovers. Like, seriously, this is kind of an unexpected, fun card. There's nothing, this isn't a great card. That's not a great card, but it comes up all the time, even for people who are doing phenomenally. There's some stuff hanging in the balance. You've got some hard work ahead. There's stuff going on. Like, it feels a little heavy duty. But then we've got this beautiful, beautiful happiness card, the Lovers. So I don't know if you're already in an amazing relationship, but I'm going to say something. If not, if you don't already have this guy or girl that you're madly in love with, something's coming your way. And that is always fantastic. And I always have to add, because some people read the Lovers card as if it could be any partnership. I totally disagree. The Lovers is Lovers. Hot, exciting, fabulous, unbridled passion. So I hope this comes your way and that you enjoy it immensely and that I know you can work all the rest of it out. So I hope to talk to you soon. Have an amazing week. Have a beautiful week. And we will talk soon. Take care.